Alright, so I have a question that is there a way to share tests between two classes while the semester is taking place? And the answer to that is yes. So I'm going to pretend like I'm in my CISA 101 class that I'm teaching. I'm going to come down into my course tools and go into my test surveys and pools. And let's visit my tests. Alright, so let's pretend that I want this test that I have created to be accessible to my other classes. If I'm teaching two sections of CISA 101 and I haven't merged them, how can I share this test without having to recreate it? It's pretty simple, actually. Right next to this drop down, next to the test I want to carry over, and this has to be done for each test you want to carry over. It's not a one-time shot. I'm going to export to the content collection. Do not export it to your computer. Blackboard will not re-accept it, so just don't do this. Come into export to the content collection. It's going to say export a test, and then the content collection destination is where we need to browse. The content that you'll see is just specific to that one class that we're in. See, here is my CISA 101 section 31. I don't want it in this content because that means I can't share it with another class. So I'm going to click this up arrow, and that's going to allow me to go up a level. And this is now to my courses. So from here, I could put it in a different class that I'm teaching. Excuse me. Alright, so I'm going to choose this class, and I'm going to then hit submit. And this tells me which class that this export is going to go into. So yours might say CISA 101 section 42 or whatever, and then click submit. It is successfully exported into that content collection, which means then that I need to actually come into that class in order to deploy it. So I'm going to come into, actually have to import it into my content course tools in my second class, go into test surveys and pools, and go into tests, and now we have to import the test. We aren't going to browse our computer because it's in our content collection. And you can see now that we'll sort this by the last modified date so we can pull some of this information up closer to the top. Here is the September 4th test that I've imported. Here is the one that I did today. So I would just click this radio button and then click submit. It has to be a zip file, so that's why we had to spend time looking for that test export file. And then I click submit. As this is running, I do want to give you one piece of advice. If you have created a test from a pool of questions, you have to export and import the pool first before you can export and import the test, or else your test will be empty. I've now gone back into my test surveys and pools, into my test areas, and you can see that here is the test that I've imported. See, here's the timestamp. I can now come in and edit that test. You can see that all of my questions are here. And if I wanted to deploy that test, that I would need to come into my assignments area, come into assessments and test, and then find it from the list, and then submit, and then enter all of the qualifying data, like how many attempts and all of that good stuff that students would have for that assessment. But that is how you can move or copy or export import, for the right terminology, one test using Blackboard into your content collection so that you can use it in a second classroom.